and that lets you know you're recording.
Okay, I know that, but man, ain't that goddamn much. Can't stop.
3, 2, 1, 0, and liftoff. Liftoff. Americans return to space as Discovery clears the tower.
What's up, you all? TTMTrades here. Man, I haven't recorded a video in quite some time, man, but we are back at it. As you can see, I got a camera, right? So we're just gonna jump right into it, man. Up to 2.8. 2,800 followers, man. I deeply appreciate every single one of you. I seriously do, man. And for those who've stuck around between my gaps of recording and posting information, like I said, I'm constantly in and out to sea. And then I just went on a vacation as far as 4th of July goes. And now I'm back and I'm getting back in the groove. So today I want to talk about a couple things. Today we're going to talk about a couple things on my watch list. We're going to talk about KOOL. We're going to talk about Life. We're going to talk about Plug. And we're going to also talk about WWR. As far as ticker KOOL, today in the chat, shout out Mary Max. He said, hey, anyone have thoughts on KOOL? This is before the breakout. This is at 12:20 p.m. Anyone have thoughts on KOOL? Been accumulating for a while now. Seems ready to move. And I told him, good catch on KOOL. She looks ready to go based off the volume and candlesticks forming. And then sure enough, you get this nice breakout here. Now, what do I mean by the volume and the candlesticks forming? So one of the big things with the volume is very telling, and it's something that a lot of people do not pay attention to because a lot of people don't know how to analyze volume. And volume can be tricky when you're trying to analyze it, but it does give you a lot of information, especially when you tie what you see as far as volume along with what type of candlesticks are forming with that volume. Okay, so what I mean by that is, as you can see here, you had these long candles, which pretty much shows that the selling is in the bulls, not the bulls, but huh?
Mommy.
Mommy ran to the store. She'll be right back. She wanna go get some Hawaiian cake rolls. Yeah. Yeah, when Mama get back, you can have one, okay? All right. So as I was saying, my son just walked in, had to jump back in, hit re-record. So as you can see with these long candles, which primarily have no wicks, you can see that the bulls are fully in charge, right? There's no buying, there's no bulls going against this downtrend because there are no candle wicks forming, right? They're pushing all the way to the low of the low and they're closing at the low of the low. So you really don't want to, you know, get into that type of momentum, all right? And then as you get this large volume spike, that's usually something called capitulation, right? Long story short, that means a lot of panic selling, meaning that everybody who was in this stock has literally, for the most part, all sold at the same time, panic selling, right? And you get this large spike in volume. Normally when you see that, that shows that on the sellers end, that they're getting exhausted, meaning that there aren't many sellers left because everyone who wanted to get out of this stock is pretty much gotten out of it on this large volume spike right here, right? And when you see that type of volume spike like that, then that's when you want to start looking for a bottom as far as the stock goes and start paying attention to the candlesticks. So once you get this large volume spike right here, you get the candlesticks that go from these wide lengthy candlesticks to these small ones, right, which is showing indecision now because now you have buyers coming in and they're kind of testing the waters like, okay, we've seen this large panic selling, let's see if this is a safe entry to get in. So you get some light buying here the following day, which gives you a kind of a doji, and then the following days all of the candlesticks are very they're not very long in length, okay, they're very small. And then you get some more, you get another spike in selling volume here to show that more sellers are getting out of the stock. And then as it begins to dip down to that 42-cent range, you start to see some buying. As you can see, the candlestick is starting to form a wick, right? And then you get some indecisiveness going back and forth between the bulls. The bulls are beginning to notice that the bears can no longer push us down any further. And then, you know, you get some buying, and then you get this nice test run that pushes up to 58 cents. Now, you get this large spike in volume on the run up, and that shows that there's a lot of buyers going into this one, but at the same time, a lot of people covering their profits and exiting the stock again. Okay, so if you have people that got in over here and then they dip down on them to 42, right, they're in a hole approximately 14 cents, right? That's a pretty big loss. Now, when the stock begins to run back up, this is their opportunity to cover their shares, break even, get out. Even for those who got in down here around that 42 to 45 cent range, it's a good opportunity for them to lock in profits right here, right at that 58 cent. So this gives you a fair idea of where your top is at. As you can see right here, it's currently at 58 cent, 56 to 58 cent, where you can see the price action is topping out at, and you can see where a lot of profit taking and the volume spike happened at. And now you can kind of roughly identify where your bottom is at, right here around 42 cent. Now, as the stock begins to dip back down into that 42 cent range, it dips down to 37, but you immediately get that large volume spike, which causes this long wick, and that shows buying. That shows that the bulls are coming in and they're accumulating shares in that cheap price range of luckily it dipped down to 37, but in that 37 to 42 cent range where it dipped down last time. And then again, you get those small candlesticks again showing some indecision among who's in control, and then finally you start to get the buy volume. You see all the indecision dojis forming, and then finally you get the volume breakout right here. Okay, so the big thing you want to look at is moving forward. And even here, as you see the volume is dropping. It's like a little step ladder going down. As you see the volume is dropping, that shows that the sellers, there aren't many sellers left. All right, as the price action begins to dip back down in that price range of that 42 cent, there aren't a lot of sellers left to push this stock down. If there was still heavy selling involved, then you would see large spikes in volume with no candle wicks, right? You would just have solid candlesticks with no wicks, and that would show that there's still a lot of sellers within this stock and that you still want to stay out of the way of it. But since you see the price action, you see the volume is dropping and you're getting these candle wicks at the bottom showing that there's some buying in that general area, then that tells the bulls that, number one, all the weak hands and or sellers, profit takers, whatever you want to call them, they're getting shook out the stock. All the weak hands are being accumulated by the bulls. They're coming in, they're buying all these shares. Everybody who's panic selling, locking in profits, the whole nine, there are buyers, bulls, market makers, whatever you want to call them. They're accumulating these shares. And that's why you're getting this low volume and you're getting these little candle wicks forming at the bottom. And then finally you get this breakout. Now, where do we see this stock going as far as in the future? Okay. It has some pretty good buy volume behind this one right here. As you can see, as far as momentum, I keep a 10 and 30 period moving average on my RSI. Reason why I don't do moving averages on my chart per se is because I utilize Bollinger Bands. So the Bollinger Bands give me enough information based off the price deviation and everything from the 30 period moving average. I get enough information from that. So throwing a 20 period moving average, a 50 period moving average, and a 200 period moving average on top of the Bollinger Bands, it's already too many lines on the chart, and it just makes it more confusing. So I put my lines on my oscillator, such as the RSI. So as you can see here, it was trending up above that 10 and 30, and then immediately it broke below that 10 period moving average, which was immediately a sell signal to get out. And then as you can see here, held below that 10 period moving average here, broke above it, found support, and then immediately broke up, and which is that little price run right here. And then as it made a higher high, began to pull back, but instead of it breaking below that 30 period moving average, it immediately found support and then broke above the 10, pulled back, found support, and then created a higher high. So the momentum is definitely picking up within KOOL itself, and then you have the volume behind it to support the move. Now, has it broken out of its heavy resistance area? It has not. Okay, like I said, I would look for a strong break. What did I tell them? I said I would watch for a break above 47 with the current support at 42. So you had that break above 47. What we want to see is that it holds above 47, with some light accumulation before it starts its next leg up. Now tomorrow it could possibly continue to spike up, but normally what you see is when you see buyers come in full force like this, then the next day or two, right, it's kind of like they sit back and then they'll see how much selling occurs in that price range, right? Immediately, if there's a lot of selling and the stock pulls back on high volume, then that shows the bulls that there's still a lot of sellers within the stock, and they know not to try to push the stock just yet, because before a stock moves, you have to shake out all of the weak hands, which is all of the sellers. Once you are shaking out all of the weak hands and buying up all the weak hands and getting them out, then as a market maker, right, because us as retail traders, we don't have a ton of money to move a stock on our own, right? So from a market maker's point of view, right, once they see that all the weak hands have been shaken out and there's not a lot of selling, a lot of bears to go against them as far as trying to push the stock up, then that's when you will see the stock begin to move. So again, here you see the selling is getting light. All of the weak hands are being accumulated by the bulls. They're buying up the shares, and then this is like a test push right here, right? So they're going to push it up. Tomorrow we're going to see how many people lock in profits, how many sellers are left. If this stock doesn't pull back too hard, because it probably will pull back, but it should be on light volume, and that should show you that it's only profit takers. It shouldn't be on high volume. If it pulls back on high volume, then that shows you that there are still a lot of sellers left within the stock. But if it pulls back on very light volume, then that tells the bulls that there aren't any sellers left, or there aren't many sellers left, and then from that moment forward, the bulls know they can overpower them and start pushing the stock back up. So I would definitely keep an eye on KOOL, but keep in mind that the immediate resistance, as your Bollinger Bands are showing you, is 51 cent and then 56 cent. Of course, that 56 cents correlates with this top out right here, where the stock topped out at right here and then began to pull back, and then that 51 cent correlates with that support where it was holding right in this little channel right here before it broke back down. So again, your next move is a break above 51 and 56. Once you break through those, then you can possibly start an uptrend for some nice quick gains, lock in your profits and get out. All right, let's move on. All right, let's talk about Life. So I like what Life has done right here. So as you can see, again, major downtrend, long candlesticks right here, capitulation, this high volume spike right here. This volume right here alone was 4.5 million shares, right? On average, the stock was averaging 15,000, 8,000 volume. This is a typical volume. And then right here, 755,000 volume. And then right here in this one day alone, 4.5 million shares was sold off. All right, with a candle wick right here showing that there was some buying pressure. Again, what is that? That is capitulation. All right, that is panic selling. That is all the sellers, everyone who wanted to get out of the stock, all panic sold right here in this moment. And normally when you have panic selling, also known as capitulation, that doesn't leave many sellers left to continue to push that stock down. Now, once the bulls notice that there aren't many sellers left to push the stock down, that's when they come in and start accumulating the shares and start trying to push it back up. So again, you got this capitulation volume right here, 4.5 million, and then look, you got light volume as the stock begins to trend sideways, right? When it begins to trend sideways, that's accumulation, right? That's the bulls, the market makers coming in, and they're buying up those shares, and they're buying up all the weak hands, the rest of the weak hands that are left, and trying to get out of this stock, right? And then once they buy up all those weak hands, you get that run up again, like we just seen on KOOL. A lot of selling right here at that 122 mark, okay? And then again, some light volume right here from some more profit taking, and then the bulls come up and they run it up one more time. And then you get this sell off right here, and guess where it pulled back at? It pulled right back into that support area of 86 to 82 cent. And as you can see here, every time it touches down in that area, the shares are immediately bought up. That is why you're getting these long candle wicks at the bottom, because every time it dips down in that area, immediately the shares are bought. Again, it dips down in an area, immediately the shares are bought. And then you get this nice small breakout here on light volume. Now, when you get a light breakout like this on light volume, then that shows that there isn't many sellers left, because if you could push a stock up on light volume like that, and there's not a lot of force going against that, such as the sellers or the bears or whatever you want to call them, then again, that shows the bulls that it might be time to take over and to start trying to push this stock up, right? So I would definitely keep an eye on this one. It's right in that key support area of 82 to 85 cent. Right now it's holding right at 97 cent where the 30-period moving average is at. You got some right where your Bollinger Bands are telling you, you got resistance at 107, which correlates to these top outs here. Again, run up all these upward candle wicks, which is your immediate line of resistance, and then you got 117 again where the price action was topping out again. So I would look for a break above the both of those before you start an uptrend again to lock in some quick profits. But even if you get in down here from that 85 to 90 cent range, if possible, if the stock doesn't continue to break out tomorrow and you run it up to 117 or even at the peak of where it broke out at 137, that's some good profit, and then you get out. Okay, but volume tells you all this. If you look at volume will give you an idea if the bears are getting weak and if the bulls are gaining strength. Okay, next let's talk about Plug. Now we brought up Plug. My man Big Bull shouted me out on Plug. I appreciate it, Big Bull. Plug, man, we've been watching Plug since this dip right here. We caught this dip back in late May when it started trending down. We said watch for an entry around 185, and then sure enough it dipped down to 178 and then came back up to that 182 to 185 and closed. And then it had a nice little breakout here, and then it was just trending sideways, right? On light volume, see how the volume is below average the entire time? That's accumulation. And then immediately as it's accumulating and it's trending sideways but in a kind of slanted upward motion, that shows that it's not a lot of selling going against that buying. Okay, if you are constantly trying to push upward and you're getting these high volume spikes and then the stock is coming back down, then that shows that there's still a lot of sellers within this stock, right? And before you can move a stock up, you got to shake out all the weak hands, and or the weak hands have to get accumulated and you have to get them out the way. Once you get all the sellers out the way, then you can push a stock up, because you never want a lot of force going against the direction you're trying to go through, right? Well, go to, excuse me. So again, you see the volume start tapering off, showing that there's not a lot of selling going against the buying, and then finally you get a breakout right here, bam, at 218. So it's possible that it could pull back, but if it does pull back, like we said, we want to see that on light volume to probably show some potential profit taking, right? Once the sellers sell for that profit taking, again, you'll have a new wave of buyers that come in, accumulate those weak hands, and then that'll start the uptrend to start pushing that stock back up. All right, but remember, you always want to shake out all the weak hands, but this one does have the potential to continue up back into these highs of 224 to 227, and once you get that break above there, you're looking at these resistance areas right here at 232 and 244 where this last channel was at before the trend overall fell. So I'll definitely keep an eye on ticker PLUG. Now going big picture out to the weekly, as you can see on the weekly, it's consolidating. You see the bands are beginning to tighten, constricting, right? And you can see that immediate line of resistance right here at 218. So you may hit that 218 or you may push up into that 238, which is that top Bollinger Band, and then you might see some profit taking and for it to start pulling back, which shows some nice consolidation and that the weak hands are being bought out, which are your sellers. And then once you see that, it should continue back up on its run. And then again, on a bigger picture time frame, on a weekly basis, if you plan on holding the stock that long, then you can push back up into these highs of 270 and $3 and $3.21 back up into this area. But great momentum, as we said. The RSI, which crossed below that 10 and 30 period moving average right here, which signaled the sell, has been trending below that 10 period moving average the whole entire time, and then finally found support, and now it's trending upward and it broke above its 10 and 30 period moving average, which shows that the momentum is in the bull's favor. We just need that volume to come in. But as you can see right here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 straight weeks of accumulation, and now we're starting to see the breakout. So I would definitely keep an eye on ticker PLUG. And last but not least, ticker WWR. Again, same thing with this one. Stock was on a downtrend. As you can see here, you start getting these bottom candle wicks right here showing some potential buying, which shows, you know, the bulls are coming in, accumulating shares. And then finally you get this last dip down right here to 35 cent. And then you get some indecision candlesticks, and then immediately the volume starts picking up and it runs back into that high of 59. Now it's beginning to pull back for a double bottom back in that area again of that 37 cents. So this might be a good safe entry play right here. I'll definitely keep an eye on it. As you can see, every time it dips down into that 37 cent rim, the shares are immediately bought up. Again, that dip down, the shares are bought up. Every time it dips down, the shares are bought up. Again, with another dip, the shares are bought up on good volume. So it looks like the stock is being accumulated right here in this general price range. This is where smart money is coming in. They're buying up all the weekends and everybody trying to get out of this stock. And I'm pretty sure with this run up, that scared a lot of the shorts who were in this stock, and they probably got out of it too. So I will start looking for a consolidation play right here with a potential breakout here in the future, give or take, maybe next week. But again, you know, when I look at stocks, man, I give you plays that either will start this week or next week. But just know I'm a swing trader and I hold my stocks for quite some time. All right, I'm not a day trader. I don't do in and out. All right, I really don't have time to be in and out. I find a nice play with some cushion that I feel like has some good momentum behind it and volume, and it's going to run where I can make big gains and I can still go do my thing as far as me being in the military and come home and I don't have to worry about taking a major hit on my account because I got a nice swing trade set up or a nice consolidation breakout play. But these are the four I definitely keep an eye on, definitely. But yeah, man, TTMTrades, I'm glad to be back. Got the camera now, right? So you get to see me live and direct. Gonna start doing more educational videos. My son is coming in the room.
Mom here.
Okay, I'm coming, big boy. Thank you. But till next time, again, if you learn anything, man, please hit that follow button on the Stock Tips account if you got one. And then again on the YouTube channel, hit that subscribe button. And we're gonna get back into posting videos non-stop. And again, the free Discord chat room. Like I said, I'm not charging anybody to join this chat room. It's for a bunch of traders to get together. New, amateurs, professional, experienced traders. We all get together. We throw some ideas around. We make money together. And we support one another. Okay? But again, free chat room. The link will be down in the description. And it's up for anybody to join. But till next time, TTM Trades, man. I'm out. Y'all trade safe. Protect your accounts. And until next time.
Houston, Tranquility Base here. The Eagle has landed.